Hi, OJ. They say every stylist has a secret. Trade tricks passed down through generations. Special oils that make braids shine. Techniques of edges that last. My secrets are different, darker. And now that I'm gone, truly gone, not in the way that you think of death, but in a way far worse than to tell someone. Anyone. Maybe it's the last thread of humanity clinging to whatever I've become in the shadows. This is my confession, my warning, my curse. If you are reading this, you've probably heard the rumors about Penthouse Salon in East Legon. The one that closed overnight. The ones where police found nobody, just hair. So much hair and the broken mirrors reflecting nothing but darkness. You've probably scrolled past the WhatsApp messages, the Instagram theories, the TikTok videos on people claiming to see lights flickering in the windows at night. Let me tell you what really happened. Let me tell you what I did. Because somewhere in Accra right now, another stylist is being approached. Another woman is being offered a black calabash. Another set of hands is learning to collect more than just hair from their clients. And if my confession can stop even one person from making the choices I made, then maybe, just maybe, these souls will loosen their grip on what's left of my soul. But I don't think they will. The spirits don't forgive, they only consume. This is how it began. The sun was setting over East Legon, and I watched the golden light reflect off my salon's glass walls with a satisfaction that went deeper than pride. It was hunger inside. The scent of shea butter and Brazilian keratin mixed the expensive perfumes my clients wore. Chanel, Dior, Tom Ford. And every wall held mirrors that reflected my kingdom back to me 1,000 times over. I moved between my clients and practiced grace, my hands braiding and styling, but my eyes were always searching that polished floor for something more valuable than the cedi they had paid. Hair, strands of hair, threads of power. When she arrived in her sleek black Mercedes, designer clothes dripping with gold jewelry, I felt that familiar tightening in my chest. Envy mixed with anticipation. She was old money, the kind of woman who had never known struggles. I need my hair perfect, she demanded, not asked. I have a cocktail party at Villaggio in an hour. I smiled, OJ, guiding her to the best hair. Of course, sister, you will be the most beautiful woman there. As I worked, my fingers moving through her thick, healthy hair, I let strands fall deliberately. She laughed loud into her phone, showing off her manicure, completely unaware of my other hand slipping her hair into the black cloth hidden in my apron. My heart raced the way it always did. The thrill never dulled, no matter how many times I had done this. That night, in her airport residential apartment, I imagined her first screams rang out around 2 a.m. I wasn't there to hear them, but I felt them somehow. A tremor in my chest, a cold satisfaction. Her hair pulling itself from her scalp as invisible hands tore it apart. By the time security reached her apartment, she was gone. Her hair scattered around her like dark feathers. The news spread through Accra's elites like wildfire on Hamatan dried grass. Another young socialite dead under mysterious circumstance. My reward arrived the next morning. A Chanel bag, authentic, not the Makula Market knockoff, and an envelope thick with hundreds cedis notes. No card, no explanation, just from a grateful admirer. I held that bag and smiled, really smiled. The ritual had accepted my offering. The first thread of supernatural power had woven itself into my life. From that moment, I knew wealth and influence in Accra would be mine. The night I first met the woman in Nima, the air was heavy with humidity that made my silk blouse clinch to my skin. I parked my car, a new one, sleek and black, in a narrow alley behind the market. She sat, waiting for me, her face partially hidden by shadows, but her eyes burned with something that wasn't entirely human. I knelt on the polished wooden floor, my gaze fixed on the black calabash placed before her. "You desire power in Accra." Her voice was surprisingly soft. "The spirits will give it to you, but they demand offering. Here is their feast. The stronger the victim, the greater the reward." I nodded, my throat too tight to speak. I had already collected my first victim's hair. I had already seen what the ritual could do. "Every strand you take must be offered without pity," she continued. Her fingers traced the rim of the calabash. "If you hesitate, if your heart falters, your soul will belong to the spirits. Death will come to you swiftly." She handed me the black calabash. Its surface was polished so dark it seemed to swallow light. "This is the vessel of obedience. Place the hair inside after every session. Speak no words of what you do. The spirits will watch. They will reward you. But one mistake." She didn't finish. She didn't need to. I left that alley with the calabash wrapped in my cloth, my mind racing. Accra spread out before me. The high rises of Cantonments, the bustle of Osu, the gleaming cars on the Spintex road. I could already see my future, my salon, my life transformed. But I also knew that each strand I collected carried more than keratin. It carried life, and the spirits demanded complete obedience. That night, I placed the first victim's hair carefully inside the calabash, whispering the words she had taught me. The calabash shook slightly. A cold wind brushed my cheeks in my locked air-conditioned penthouse. Accra was mine to conquer, but every gain would come with blood, scream, and shadows that would grow darker with every passing day. The bride-to-be was radiant, glowing in her silk dressing gown. Her wedding, the talk of East Legon. She settled into my chair, chatting about her fiancé, their honeymoon in Santorini, the reception at Kempiski. My hands moved through her hair, braiding, styling, creating the perfection she demanded. But my eyes followed each loose strand. When she left, I gathered every strand, slipping them into the calabash hidden in my velvet bag. The words came easily now, automatic. The cold breeze that followed made me smile. That evening, she returned to her Roman-rich apartment, unaware of the forces closing in. I heard later, through whispers, through the news, that wouldn't quite explain what happened. That her hair had risen on its own, twisting violently from her scalp. Her chandelier swung, her mirrors cracked, and by the time security broke down her door, she was gone. My reward arrived the next morning, a high-profile contract to style her for the entire wedding season in East Legon and Cantonments. Millions of cedis, my fame among Accra's elite soared. Yet, with every strand collected, I felt the ritual's hold growing stronger. The wealth was intoxicating, yes, but so was the darkness that crept through every mirror in my salon. The influencer was young, ambitious, and loud. She arrived in a flashy Range Rover, her phone constantly buzzing with notifications from her thousands of followers. She wore bright kente-inspired streetwear and wouldn't stop talking about her wealthy boyfriend and her upcoming fashion show at Alliance Francaise. I welcomed her with my practiced smile, concealing the dark anticipation coursing through me. As she sat scrolling through Instagram, laughing at comments, posting selfies in my chair, my hands worked skillfully. Each falling strand went into the calabash. She was young, full of life, full of ambition. The spirits always hungered for the ambitious ones. That evening, in her Laboni apartment, the supernatural forces began its work. I imagined her hair rising on one end, twisting as if pulled by invisible hands. Her screams echoing through the building, her expensive ring light crashing to the floor. By the time her neighbors arrived, she was gone. OJ. The next morning, I received a brand new car, German, luxury, and a private invitation to style for Accra's top influencers and celebrities. My salon's Instagram exploded. Everyone wanted an appointment with me, but each success deepens the shadows. I started seeing things in my mirrors that weren't reflections, movements that weren't mine. The blogger was different, dangerous. She was notorious for exposing the secrets of Accra's elites. She entered my salon with her camera bag and laptop, already planning her next expose. I greeted her politely, hiding my calculations. She was smart, nosy, and the perfect offering. As I braided her hair, she joked about writing a feature on my salon. The mystery behind East Legon's miracle stylist, she said, laughing. I bet you have secrets, eh? If only she knew. Every strand went into the calabash. The spirits hummed with anticipation. This is Anonymous OJ, and if you are new here, I would like you to like, subscribe, share, comment, and hype this channel. And tell somebody about your Anonymous OJ. I'll see you in our next conversion.